So I just wanted to go through this four-part series on managing others. One of the reasons that I want to do it is a lot of my clients right now are account managers looking to get promoted to account director, and they're suddenly having people to manage. So it is a completely different skill set. I think you're used to delivering projects and managing. In relationships with clients, etc., but trying to motivate another person to delegate effectively really is a different skill set and different things that you need to do really to be effective. So if you're in the similar situation, hopefully this is going to be useful for you. But it's going to be four parts, and the first part is all about choosing your leadership style. So there's four parts to this. The first video is going to be your style. Second one is going to be how to delegate. The third video will be giving feedback effectively to someone. And then the fourth one is conducting reviews. So before I start, I just wanted to say that um, really the importance of getting it right for your team is the difference between keeping someone in the organisation and losing them. And I've been guilty of that in the past, getting my leadership style wrong, not resonating with someone enough, not motivating them enough. And it's making sure that you're checking in with people, because if they're left to their own devices and you don't keep ahead of it, you don't really know what's going on in their world. So here's a couple of statistics which I thought I'd share with you. 3 out of 4 employees report their boss is the worst and most stressful part of their job. And so if you are new to leadership, your role is really important. So whoever you're managing, they're going to go home to their spouse or their parents and they're going to say, oh, my boss, said this or said the other. So when you step into the office, your energy levels are important, how your day is going and how you kind of manage your own state and your own um, well-being, really. Because if you go into the office in the morning with a face like thunder and really in a bad mood, it's kind of going to permeate the whole office, because people are going to be thinking, oh, my boss is in a bad mood. So the first thing about leadership, I think it really is not controlling your state, and I'm no expert on this, but it's just being sort of positive. And there's a lot more to it. And I don't profess to be the expert in this. And in fact, I'm going to invite a leadership expert onto this LinkedIn group and interview her, because I think a lot of us will have a lot of questions. The second statistic that I wanted to share was 50% of employees who don't feel valued by their boss plan to look for a new job next year. And this is something that's become very prevalent when I'm coaching account managers in growing existing business. Some of them admit to me that they're actually thinking about getting a new job. And it's usually not about the work or the clients, but it's often about how they're being treated internally. So getting it right is important. The third and final statistic I wanted to share with you is, this is quite well known actually, but 75% of employees quit their job because of their manager. And you might be thinking this yourself, like, actually, yeah, I can see why that's true. So when you think about it, when you are in a position where you are stepping up to manage people, you want to get it right. And there might be some fear or worry around getting it right. And look, there's no one size fits all, but just having some guidance, I think, is often helpful. So diving right in, I want to share with you a model, a leadership model, and it's by two guys called Hersey and Blanchard, and it's called situational leadership. And essentially, what it is, and what the key point I want you to take away from this is, there's not one size fits all to managing people, and it's about adapting your style to suit the person that you're managing in the context in which you're managing them. So what I mean by that is, if you've got someone that is new to a task, then your style has to adapt to where they're at. So if they're very new to a task and they're doing it for the first time, then you have to take quite a directional approach. So this model sort of sums it up. But on the right hand side, if your employee or the person you're managing is on the right hand side, and they're starting to do that task for the very first time, your style of managing needs to be quite directional, giving them a step-by-step approach. Maybe you're doing it with them a little bit, but your time is going to be more highly focused to help them because they're doing it for the first time and you want to set them up for success. If they're a little bit more proficient with that task, that particular task, then your style of leadership can change. So you could go to a lot more of a coaching style. So have you got everything you need? Check in with them maybe frequently, maybe oversee what they're doing, but you're less directional and more coaching. Then as the employee gets more proficient with those tasks, then your role as a leadership can change. So you can be just more supportive. Is there anything else that can I help you with? So you're just checking in with them, but letting them kind of run with it. So already you can see that if your general style is directive, and yet you're not looking at who you're managing and where they're at in terms of their proficiency with a task, then it's easy to see how that person can maybe get the hump with like, gosh, you don't need to tell me that, or you don't need to keep telling me exactly what to do. I've already done this before. So the person you're managing might not be very vocal with that, but you might be sort of putting their back up, or it might affect their performance. So the fourth and final one is delegating. So if you've got someone in your team that's very, very proficient with what they do, they've done it a million times, then your style could be just completely delegating it, completely giving over that task, not having to check in, not having to check the work until it's at the very end, just asking for a bit of an update at the end. So this is quite a simple model, but the message I think is quite powerful. And it's to look at yourself, to think, how am I behaving in this scenario? I've got an example of someone who is taking the wrong style with someone who doesn't really need such a directive style, and it's having a very detrimental effect on their motivation levels. So someone you're managing might not be vocal, they might not tell you how you're affecting their motivation, but it might be affecting them quite badly. So the last thing you want to do is not have a very willing, able, motivated, proactive direct report. So how are you going to get the best out of someone you're managing? It's just to think about your own style. So I hope you've picked up something from this, and I hope for those of you who've been managing people for a long time, it just serves as a reminder. But I found this very useful to just be conscious of how you are behaving. And this is part of my overall plan, actually, where this is a model that I follow to grow existing business from unpredictable revenue, project revenue, to predictable account growth. And where we're at right now with this model is up in the scale area. So these are some of the modules that I teach at this level, where you're thinking about how to harness the power of the team to grow existing business. So I hope this has been useful, and I'll be posting the next one pretty soon. But please, as always, give me some feedback in the comments or ask some questions, because as I say, I'm not the expert with this. It's things that I've picked up over the years, and I've got it wrong, as have others. But some of these things hopefully will help you, and I'm going to be asking an expert to come on and answer some of our questions. So please feel free to post the questions in the comments box.